Hey, what's up everybody? It's Kyle from Growing Up Garden. So I've been out in the garden this morning working on my irrigation system, and I thought I'd give you guys a quick little tour of what I've got growing in the garden this year, and I'll kind of show you what I've been working on. So I'm going to head to the front and give you guys the tour. So if you guys are new to my channel, we're actually standing in the front yard of my house. Here's the street. So all of my produce is grown primarily in the front yard. I do have a small herb bed in the backyard, and I also have two trees in the backyard. I have an apple tree and a fig tree. So this space here was originally, it was just a small, lawn with a big tree. And it was a beautiful tree, but the tree it made a big mess, and it was actually growing roots in our toilet. So the tree had to come out. Now we have something more useful, something that can actually feed our family throughout the year. So right here in the front, I'm doing an experiment this year. I'm trying to see if it's possible to grow 100 pounds of potatoes in one of these potato towers. There's some people say you could do that online. There's articles showing you how to do it, so I thought I'd put it to the test. So I've got 4 different varieties of potatoes, and I'm pretty much halfway up to the top. Basically what you do is you plant the potatoes in the bottom, and then as they grow you keep filling them in with soil or mulch or straw. I'm using straw for the majority of it, and then once it gets to the top, they'll just grow on their own until they're ready to harvest, or you can actually steal potatoes by taking off boards and digging in there and pulling them out. So if you guys, I'll put a link down below so you guys can check out that series. I have a ton of videos on it. I actually tried doing this last year and it failed, so this is my restart this season, and it's doing really good. So I'll just quickly show you what's growing over here. I've got some mountain honey cantaloupes. They're in cups. The reason I started them in cups is because I actually sowed seeds in here all along this 2 times this year, and what happened was the pill bugs, or the roly-polies, ate all of my starts as they were coming out of the ground. So what I did is I started them in cups, and once they got to be, about this big, I put them in the ground, and the cup is acting kind of like a little bit of a deterrent to keep them out of there. The cup has a bunch of slits in it so the roots can grow through it. And then next to the cantaloupes, I've got sunflowers. So another thing is I planted sunflowers all along this, and for some reason only these came up. So I've been replanting them. I've probably planted like 3 different times in that section. So hopefully some come up, because what I want the sunflowers to grow up here, and I want the melons to kind of climb on the trellis and the sunflowers. I thought that'd be cool. We also have asparagus growing. We've got a couple plants. It's probably best to grow asparagus if you have a lot of property. We don't really have a lot of space. I probably wouldn't plant that there again. But asparagus does taste delicious when it's fresh from your garden. I've got some more potatoes I threw in here because I had an empty space. I've got a zucchini plant there. It's an Italian zucchini. I got a tomato plant. This is the pink Berkeley tie-dye. I think it's from the Wild Boar Farm. I got the seeds at the Heirloom Expo in Santa Rosa. I think you can get them from Baker Creek Seed Company also. Oop. So this bed here I dedicated to growing beans. So these are the Blue Lake bush beans, and I've had a really difficult time this season getting them to grow. So I planted this whole bed out all the way throughout this area, and same thing happened with the roly-polies. They came in And as the little start was coming out of the ground, they started nibbling on the first set of leaves. And basically they would come out of the ground with no leaves, and you know, they're not going to grow at that point. So what I did is I restarted my seeds. I put some seeds in the ground, and then I put this cup over it, or not cup, but it's actually a piece of PVC pipe, stuck that over it, and that actually kept the roly-polies from eating the beans. So here's one that's growing out of the cup, or the PVC pipe. But I've also had some problems with my cats getting in here and digging up, you know, going to the bathroom in here. So that's another issue I have to deal with. The cats are good at killing mice, but they also will do some damage to your garden if you don't have it fenced off. Yeah, you're making a mess, dude. Huh. You're a stinker cat. Nice cats, though. So I've got some more tomato plants here. These are all our cherry tomatoes. I've got the Sun Gold cherry tomato. I've got Super Sweet 100. And then that one right there, that's one I started from seed. And it has not grown for the last month. It just doesn't want to grow, I guess. That is supposed to be, I think it's called a Berry's Crazy Cherry Tomato, and it's supposed to produce like tons and tons of cherries in big clusters, and you're supposed to be able to cut the cluster off and just shake them into a basket and they'll fill it up. But hopefully when it starts warming up, hopefully it starts taking off, because these guys here, I hate to say it, they might start taking over and crowding it out. These are going to definitely fill this whole space in a couple months. So those are our cherry tomatoes this season. And then here in this bed, actually I'll go over here to show you. So these tomatoes are the best growing tomatoes that I've grown. They grow every year the same. I never have any issues with them. They're the early grow tomatoes that you can get at any big, any store pretty much. It's a hybrid tomato, and it grows amazing here. Never have any issues with it growing. Yeah, certain varieties of tomatoes I don't have luck with, but these are great. Never have any problems. I've got some strawberries planted along here. This is the first time I've ever planted strawberries. Some are doing all right. Some have died, unfortunately. Yeah, there's strawberries all in here. This is my pepper beds. I've got banana peppers, and these smaller ones are ones I started from seed. They're called Jaworski peppers, and I've been growing those here the last few seasons. You can get these Jaworski seeds from Baker Creek Seed Company, Heirloom Seed Company. I've got some more Blue Lake beans. These are actually Blue Lake pole beans, so they'll grow up this trellis here. I've had a few issues with these growing also, as you can see. The bugs kind of got into some of these. I've got, this is like a yard-long bean. There's supposed to be yard-long beans here, but I only have one. Beans don't seem to want to grow that good here for some reason. I don't know if it's the soil that I have or something's not quite right. So here's my garage. Don't look in there, it's messy, full of tools. So I've got grapes growing up on the house. Originally I was supposed to have was going to build a structure here to hold the grapes up, but I just don't have time. I'm just too busy. And hopefully, maybe I'll get to it before the grapes start falling on the ground. They're just hanging off of nails right now. And this year we're actually going to get some grapes off of this, which will be pretty cool. Looking forward to it. I actually started this from cuttings that I got from my wife's grandfather, and it is the what's the variety? Darn it, I forgot the variety. I think, oh, it's called, this is called the Red Flame. That's what it is. But yeah, when I started, it was just a little piece like that last season, and now look at how big it is. It's crawling up on my archway, and it's almost halfway across the garage. So I'll take you guys over here. I've got the kagutsa gourd that I grow. This thing will climb, and then what happens is it grows these big gourds, and you can actually eat these when they're when they're smaller. They're better to eat when they're small, but I kind of let them grow to see how big they would get. So they get pretty big, as you can see. And then so along here I planted more beans. I planted pole beans. I got one that's starting to climb, and I've got some bush beans on the bottom. I had the same problem with the beans in here, but what you can see here at the bottom is these plants growing all over the place. These are volunteer plants that I didn't put in. This is red Malabar spinach. It's like a leafy green that you can eat. It's kind of like has like a gelatinous texture to it. So I planted these in here a couple years ago. And last season, I had a few volunteers come up and grow all up in this, on this wire, and look at it, set tons and tons of seeds, and it basically self-seeds itself. So I'm never gonna have to plant this again. This is probably gonna take over this area. So this might be all red Malabar spinach, which would be good because I need to eat more of these leafy greens for my health. And I'll take you guys in here. And so this area here, this used to be my composting area. I used to have compost piles, but I decided not to do that anymore. I just don't have time or the space. So I decided to put peppers in here because we love to eat peppers. So I did have some compost piles here, and I just flattened them out, and then I put in some compost that I bought at the store on top of it, and everything seems to be doing pretty good in here. So these I bought at one of the nurseries here, a few different varieties of peppers, and then these are the Jaworskis back here. These are actually growing better here than they are in the main garden bed. Maybe it's because of the compost that I made underneath. Take you over here. I still haven't cleaned this area up yet. It's kind of messy, unfortunately. Here's one of my artichoke plants. This kind of was a dud season for artichokes. Last year, this thing was enormous. Like, as you can see, huge stalks. I think we got about 40 artichokes off of this last year. What happened was the artichoke roots actually punched through this box and started growing in the ground. So this thing was giant last year. There's my compost tumbler. This is the Joraform 270 composter. We use this to put all our food scraps in it. It keeps the rodents from getting into it. So it's a good composter. You guys should check it out. I did make a few videos about the Joraform composter. I'm gonna have to do an update video though and talk about some of the things I don't like about it, because there are a few problems with it. And then right here I have another raised bed. I actually built this raised bed for my kids so they can come out and just pick produce right, at their level. So this year we decided to grow carrots in here. What we did is I refilled it up with fresh compost. There's lots of worm castings in there, all kinds of good stuff. So we sprinkled out our carrot seeds, did everything right. I even put this wire caging here on top of it so the cats wouldn't get in there. And within about a week, we started getting holes in this. And what it was is there's mice living underneath it, and they started burrowing up through the top. And then what happened was the cats started digging on top trying to get at the mice. And you know what the cats actually did? I think they've caught about 5 or 6 of them that were living in this. One night they caught 3 of them. This cat right here caught 3 of them. So the cats are doing their job. But the only problem is they kind of made a mess out of my my carrots. So I think I'm gonna either restart. I might try to restart the carrots, or I might put basil plants. Those seem to do pretty good in here. And the kids actually like to come and eat the basil right off the plant. So I think that's about it for the garden. Right now I'm working on irrigation system, trying to get it going again. I've been doing all the watering by hand, which is getting old. And so I'd like to get it back to being automated. Yep. And I got my Boogie Blue Plus water filter going to my garden hose, and I also have water filters on the actual irrigation system that's over in the corner, tucked up against the house. I have 2 water filters that lead to my system. Oh, you know what? Actually, I forgot too. I do have one more area to show you guys on my side yard. I'll just show you what's growing over here. Everything's growing amazing over here. So this first plant here, this is actually sugarcane. 2 years ago, we went to our local farmer's market, and a guy had sugarcane stalks. So what we did is we were eating, we ate most of them, and then a couple of the pieces I just decided, I'm going to see if I can grow these. So I put them in some water, a bucket of water, and sprouted them, and then I ended up planting them right in front here. I made a video about it, how to start your own sugarcane from cuttings. I'll have to put a link down below so you guys can start your own sugarcane. And then what happened was I ended up moving the sugarcane and planting it here. So that's the same sugarcane plant that I moved. So this stuff is extremely durable. You can, once you plant the sugarcane, you're gonna have it forever. You're never gonna kill it. This is my zucchini bed. I've got zucchini growing in here. I do have an artichoke plant that I stuck in there during the winter time, and this does have some chokes on it. Next to the zucchinis, I said might as well try to grow some potatoes in the ground and see what happens. So I planted a bunch of different varieties of potatoes. I've got all blue potatoes, Kennebec potatoes, banana fingerling potatoes, and rose fin apple potatoes, and I think I have a potato called Jester planted in this. So I'm actually going to start mounding these potatoes, because when you plant potatoes, you're supposed to mound them, and that keeps the potatoes under the ground, because if the potatoes are exposed to sunlight, they will turn green, and it starts creating a toxin in the potatoes, and they're not good to eat. And then for fun, I'm crazy. I found some corn seeds in my little seed drawer, and I threw a bunch of corn plants in there, so they're actually coming up. I was envisioning the corn growing up taller than these other plants, and I'm growing them for fun. They're probably not going to give very good corn stalks because they're not planted in rows, but we'll see what happens. If they don't grow, they don't grow. Got some zucchinis growing. There's some over there. Oh. And then the final thing I have here is my fig tree. This is another thing that we got from my wife's grandfather. We got it from his fig tree, which came all the way from Portugal, I think. And when we got this tree, it was, I'd say, maybe about that big. I think it's been about 3 years. Yeah, 3 years ago. Yep, 3 years ago. We planted this after our son was born. And then this year I made this steel box so that I can move the tree around if I need to, because I'm gonna actually have to move it, because back there is a big toy hauler and a trailer that needs to come out of the side yard. I actually made a video showing how I made this box. Just a steel frame that I welded up, and some old fence boards that I got from my neighbor's fence that they were throwing in the garbage. And pretty much everything I use here, I try to recycle, like the wood. All the wood you see here in the main garden bed is it's old decking material that I got for free. Just, only thing I had to do was take the nails out and sand it down a little bit with the planer, and the wood, it looks brand new basically underneath. So, and it kind of gives it a nice look with the nail holes, and gives it some character. I'll show you what you can build really nice things with free lumber. This is all the same material, just planed down with a planer. I used a hand planer on this. You can see the chatter marks, which gives it a cool look. I like it. And you can't beat the price. It was free. You can see what it looked like before. Got some paint on it. Hey, before I end the video, can you do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button down below? That way you can stay up to date on when I post my latest gardening videos. So this summer I'm actually going to do another garden tour and show you what everything looks like once it's fully grown. And it is quite amazing. It's quite an amazing transformation. It looks like a jungle here, so stay tuned to see that. And don't forget to share these videos with your family and friends. And I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.